Adventures.
Greetings all, it's Chuke here with Chuke's Outdoor Adventures. Well, I've compiled my top 4 most terrifying grizzly bear attack stories where in all of these cases the grizzly ripped somebody's face off. But I have fond memories of reading Larry Knute's book as a kid. He had Alaska Bear Tales 1. He came out with a second and a third book even, I think. But one of the stories I'll never forget, there was a hunter on a ridge here in Alaska. He saw a brown bear over a mile away through his binoculars running down a ridge right at him on the next ridge over, and it disappeared in the valley, and he didn't think anything of it. And then 10 minutes later that bear came ripping back up over, just 20 yards from him into his view and just came right at him. He smelled him from over a mile away and just came running at him just to kill him. The bears are terrifying monsters. If they are in a bad mood, that you will have a very bad day if you come close to them, piss them off, threaten them. Sometimes we don't even know why they attack. Usually we do. But let's just start off with the first one. So number 4, this is from the Mirror, July 25, 2023. Man who had face reconstructed after horror bear attack picked his nose up off the floor. So this is the story of Lee Brook. After a horrific mauling by a bear, Lee Brook's nose, which had been ripped off, was kept alive, attached to an artery in his arm. He had been on a 2016 hunting trip in Wyoming and gone out to retrieve an elk he had killed the day before. Unfortunately, Mama Grizzly Bear had the same idea. So Mama with cubs, not good at all. So the bear attack knocked him out. A voice was telling him to fight back. He managed to stab the bear several times with a knife before it ran off. Thanks to the adrenaline, he didn't immediately realize how bad he had been hurt. And then he looked down on the ground. He saw his nose and his mustache on the ground. Not good. So he lay there screaming for help for the next hour before some other hunters found him. A bloody hole where his face used to be. This is similar to one of the other ones. He was in shock. He took his nose in his hand and put it in his pocket. He was taken to Swedish Medical Center in Inglewood, Colorado, put into a coma. His bites and broken bones were treated, and doctors used skin from his leg to patch his face. He has gone through tons of surgeries. He has a GoFundMe account to help with medical expenses. So look that up, guys. This guy needs help still. So he's still recovering from this. Just an amazing story, terrifying. It's amazing he is still alive. So this next one, number 3, I found this on Metro, March 24th, 2024, titled, "A Man Has Spoken of a Bear Attack During a Hunting Trip Which Left Him with Injuries He Wasn't Sure He Would Recover From." So this is the story of Jeremy Evans, 38, had recently become father to a baby girl when he headed out to the remote Alberta Rockies, Canada. While out in the woods, he was approached and savagely attacked multiple times by a grizzly bear, which ripped off pieces of his flesh, leaving them on the forest floor. The injuries he suffered as a result of the bear chewing on his head like a dog gnawing on a bone were so severe, he told The Sun he even considered ending his own life on his own terms. So this is amazing. The hobbyist hunter also explained how he was able to fight off the bear by finding a soft spot on its stomach and squeezing as hard as he could, which caused the bear to panic and run off. I haven't heard that. That's a good one to remember. He said, "I found a piece of flesh with a little bit of bristles on there and some soft spot, which was a part of my mustache." So another theme, the guy found his mustache on the ground. And then he found another piece of his ear and his scalp that he picked off the ground. Just a horrifying story. Sitting there holding a piece of his face, thinking he wasn't going to make it. He tried to shoot himself with his rifle. He was so despondent, but it went off just inches from him. And then he played the Baby Shark song that he'd played for his daughter the night before, and that kept him going. So he was eventually found, airlifted to a hospital, 2 surgeries lasting up to 13 hours to save his life. He still is raising money for PTSD, and he's suffered since the attack, no doubt. Finally, number 2, this is comes from a documentary, an article on a documentary called Documenting Reality. It's the story of Wes Perkins, a resident of Nome, Alaska. He experienced a harrowing encounter with a grizzly bear, resulted in severe injuries. This incident occurred on May 16, 2011, while he was on a hunting trip with friends in the Alaska mountains. They were tracking a large grizzly bear, and then they found the bear. It charged at them, and he suffered devastating injuries to his face. The bear tore off a significant portion of his face, including his teeth, tongue, and jaw. There was just a big hole where his face was. There's pictures on the internet. It's probably one of the most gruesome things I've ever seen in my life. He managed to survive the attack, and it's just amazing recovery. My buddy knows this family. It's a pretty amazing story. So, you know, he's still recovering from that. And finally, number 1 is the story of Dan Bigley on the Russian and Kenai River, a place where I love to fish. This happened in 2003. This was the man that was blinded, and, you know, a good portion of his face was ripped off. I saw him speaking in person, and I'll never forget just what he said. He said the last thing he saw, he didn't have time to do anything. The last thing he saw was this grizzly bear, well, in this case, it was a brown bear, running right at him. Well, no, I guess it was a grizzly because it's not right on the coast. Anyways, it was almost to him, you know, just yards away, and he saw this grizzly bear's golden eyes, the amber golden color of its eyes, and that's the last thing he would ever see. He was savagely mauled, and the bear was so angry that he actually flipped the man around so he could, you know, turn him sideways and bite the face off. And of course, he lost both his eyes. You know, his face was badly wounded, lots of surgeries. Today he's, you know, successful, and he has a career. You know, he is, you know, living as a blind man, and he will give motivational talks at times, and I did see him speak once, and it was an amazing story. So that's number 1. From all these bear stories I have covered over the last 4 or 5 months, the one thing I have learned is bear spray can be helpful. You know, carry bear spray, but do not just carry bear spray only. Always have a firearm. Always, because in the cases where, a lot of these cases where people survived and actually defeated the grizzly bear, it was because they had a firearm. Now, everyone knows I'm a big fan of the 10mm, so this is my Dan Wesson Razorback. It is a 1911 chambered in 10mm, more of a classy firearm, great for collectors. It can be useful in the field. This one has not had any problems, and I would carry this in the woods. My current Glock 10mm is this Glock 29, a baby Glock. I've got it all decked out. I've got several holsters with it. Just an amazing 10mm. Really like it. I am a revolver guy, so the most iconic revolver I personally think for Alaska bear protection is the Ruger Super Alaskan Toklat, chambered in .454 Casull. Hard hitting. It has a 5-inch barrel. I have a beautiful leather chest holster for it. It's just a great bear defense pistol. But out of all of these, the number 1 thing, if you can carry one, if you can, you know, stand the weight, if you're just going to be on a boat or, you know, a floating trip or something, 12-gauge shotgun. This is a Benelli M4. I have not found a better shotgun than this. Typically, if you're on a budget, a good Mossberg or Remington pump 12-gauge would be the best. This one is semi-auto, but these do not fail. These things are just amazing, and I had a lot of fun working with this, and I do use Black Magic slugs, the Renicky Black Magic slugs in this thing. So that's my video. I have really enjoyed this series of videos, so please email me at chukesoutdoor@outlook.com if you have interesting stories. And I always like to hear about tales of survival. And in these 4 stories, the men were badly hurt, but they did survive. So amazing testament to human survival, and I wish the best for them. And thanks for tuning in, guys. It's Chuke, your friend in the field.
My name is Chuke. I like to trade my guns just for fun, but now I have none. Oh, look, get shot by a bear, but I don't care. I got a 10mm. Chuke's Outdoor Adventures. Watch you almost die every time.